أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي رب زدني علما رب يسر ولا تعسر وتمم بالخير ثم أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد وبارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد وبعد. Today in our class we continue onwards in our recital of Riyadh al-Salihin. We are in chapter number 304, Prohibition of believing in ill omens. Babu an-Nahi an at-Tatayyur. And ill omens are superstitions. People say, for example, if you see a crow, then it means something. If you see a black cat in front of you, it means something. If you see this, there are different things and different things that they believe in. Fingers crossed, touch wood. I don't know, all of these funny superstitions and etc. that people have. It's about all of this. It says 1674 عن أنس رضي الله عنه قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم لا عدوى ولا طيرة ويعجبني الفأل قالوا وما الفأل قال كلمة طيبة. Prophet Muhammad صلى الله عليه وسلم said, Anas ibn Malik رضي الله عنه وارضاه narrated that the Prophet Muhammad صلى الله عليه وسلم said, There are no transmission of disease of one person to another and no evil omen, but I am pleased with good omens. There are no transmission of disease of one person to another person. This is speaking about this whole concept of that each person is somehow inherently sick or diseased. And because of that, a lot of the times you have some people will refuse to share water or share food or share a spoon or eat from the same plate despite having cleansed and washed their hands. This kind of being overly superstitious, overly being a person of shak, like doubt too much, excessive overthinking, this is not from the teachings of Islam. Okay? There are, of course, diseases that may be transmitted from person to person. Viruses which may go from person to person. This is a separate type of sickness and disease. This is talking about generally a person when we are healthy and when you are fine. We shouldn't believe that just because I shared a glass of water with his brother, I'm going to become sick. People believe this. They have excessive superstition. I can't eat on the same plate as you because you might have bacteria. Yeah, we all have bacteria. There is good bacteria and there is bad bacteria. Okay? So people are not unhygienic inherently. As in they are not filth or to be doubted as a source of bacteria inherently. Not to be seen in that way. If someone, of course, like for example during the times of Corona, etc., we said if someone is seeing symptoms they should avoid because we could have transmission, etc., because of contact or whatever. All of this stuff, that's a separate issue. This is an actual sickness that can be transmitted from person to person. And there was, of course, even in Islamic history, there were plagues which were traveling from city to city, and people were becoming plagued, and they passed away and died, became shaheed from that, and that's also there. So the transmission of disease from person to person inherently by assuming this assumption that that person is just going to give me a disease just because they're a different person and separate body from mine, this is not good. And we don't also believe in this all evil omens, superstitions of omens. And then he says, however, I am pleased with good omens. I am happy with positivity and optimism. Right? So when you see a situation and be optimistic about it, and assume positivity from it, then this is something that's permitted and encouraged in Islam. Because Islam encourages positivity and optimism, not negativity and taken by superstition and evil omens. Does that make sense? So on the one hand, evil omens, superstitions, negative thought, doubts are not permitted. إِنَّ بَعْضَ الظَّنِّ إِثْمٍ. Some doubts and thoughts are sinful. And here is saying we don't take evil or ill omens. But if it's optimism, then the Prophet ﷺ likes it. So that's why we gave khutbah as well on this, that optimism in Islam, because we should be optimistic. A lot of people are just negative. They just want to see everything in a dark, grey way. I can remember, I believe it was last year, in a khutbah I was saying, MashaAllah, the percentage of Muslims in the UK has increased from 3% to 6 or 7%. Yeah? And then someone left a comment saying, why are you saying they are Muslims 7%? Do you not know that most of the Muslims are hypocrites? So this person has made an analysis and diagnosis of the hearts of half of the population of Muslims in the UK, and most of them are hypocrites. So this is the kind of pessimism, negativity, you know. And some people have these negative thoughts, maybe because of trauma, because of bad experience. They, for example, assume that all religious people are dodgy. Some people genuinely believe all Maulvis, all mullahs, all maulanas, all Islamic people, they just don't like the look of them. They think they're all bad. And they're all up to no good. Some people have this assumption about men. Some women think men are trash. Some men are trash. They do trash behavior. But you can't assume that all men are trash, because it's not true. Some men are misogynistic, and they assume that women are all bad. You know, women are fitna. Women are problem. Women are problems, man. No, your mom is a woman. You know, your sisters are women. Your wife is a woman. So this kind of negativity is not permitted in Islam. Rather, positivity, optimism that will encourage you to do good, inshallah, is encouraged, and the Prophet ﷺ says he likes it. He was asked, what is a good omen? He replied, a good omen, or al-fa'al, is a good word. Be optimistic, saying kind things, thinking well, being good. But don't forget, being optimistic and thinking well of others should not make you gullible, should not make you naive. Okay? You should have the ability to have emotional intelligence and critical thinking. Don't become a victim. Quran says, لا تظلمون ولا تظلمون. Don't oppress and don't be oppressed. A Muslim is not like some miskeen, gullible guy who's a bit silly, like you pushing me, might fall over, so weak and fragile, his clothes are not even ironed properly, just you know, miskeen like awwa in Bangladesh, awwa bata, you know, like a silly guy, you know, he's a bit like simplistic. No, a Muslim is very intelligent, very clever. Yes, I'm kind and I'm generous and I'm hospitable and I'm smiley, but it doesn't mean I'm stupid. I'm very clever. Like I'm not, as a Muslim, you should be a clever person as well. Okay? Don't let no one take advantage of you. If you look at the great Muslims of the past, they were not like naive, gullible, simplistic Muslims in that way. Look at the generals and the leaders. They were shrewd, intelligent, when it needed to be. When people wanted a piece of them, they got a piece of them, and they got shredded to pieces. So, but when they wanted to be kind to them, then alhamdulillah, it was beautiful, and they were the most kind of people ever. 1675. عن ابن عمر رضي الله عنهما قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم لا عدوى ولا طيرة وإن كان الشؤم في شيء ففي الدار والمرأة والفرس. Ibn Umar radiallahu anhu wardan narrated that the Prophet Muhammad said, there is no infection and no evil omen. But if there is anything that may be a source of trouble, then it could be. Okay, we'll come back to this hadith. I need to understand it properly before I explain it. 1676. عن بريدة أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال كان أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم كان لا يتطير. Buraidah narrated the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ never took ill omens. Like we see, you know, the Arabs used to say, we're going to let some birds go. If it goes right, then it's right. If it goes left, then it's bad. So we should travel or not travel based on which direction of that. Okay? The random stuff. 1677 عن عروة بن عامر رضي الله عنه قال ذكر الطيرة عند رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم فقال أحسنها الفأل ولا تردوا مسلما فإذا رأى أحدكم ما يكره فليقل اللهم لا يأتي بالحسنات إلا أنت ولا يدفع السيئات إلا أنت ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بك. عروة ibn عامر رضي الله عنه وارضاه narrated the Prophet Muhammad narrated that when talking of omens when the talk of omens were mentioned in the presence of the Prophet ﷺ, he said, the best type of omen, superstition or thinking or mindset, is good positive thinking and positive mindset. Positively superstitious, if you like, if that makes it better. Being positive and thinking well. Okay? He added, a Muslim should not refrain from anything because of an omen. He should not refrain from anything because of an omen. Oh, I want to go to the masjid today, but it seems like the clouds are teaming up against me, so I shouldn't go to the masjid. Get an umbrella and go to the masjid. I'm going for this job application. Oh my goodness, I just saw a black cat crossing the road. I shouldn't go ahead. It's because it's going to lead to bad things. Don't be silly. Walk along and go and apply for your job and do what you need to do. Okay? And same thing for all of the big decision things and things that you need. So no good decision. A Muslim should not refrain from anything good, anything because of an omen. The Prophet ﷺ told them, when any of you sees anything which he dislikes, if you feel like, I'm not sure, is this a bad sign? Then what should you do? Should you become afraid and scared and retreat and withdraw? He said, no. He said, if you see, of course, if you see a bad sign, like for example, warning says, do not travel today because severe weather. That's not an omen. This is an actual warning. It is an omen is when you're superstitiously imagining to mean something when it's not actually concrete. And when it doesn't actually realistically mean that. Prophet ﷺ said, when you see something that you might feel like could it be negative or not with no basis to back it up, then you should carry on and you should say, oh Allah, you alone bring good things. You are the bringer of good things. You are the one who's the owner of goodness. You alone avert the evil things. And there is no might or power without you. Meaning, oh Allah, this thought I'm having of negativity, no harm can come from it except for you, except for from by your permission. All goodness and all evil comes from you. So, oh Allah, I seek refuge in you and I seek protection in you. Does that make sense? The next chapter is the prohibition of drawing animals' pictures on bedding, stones, cloth, pillows, coins, walls, ceiling, curtain, dress, and other two, and dress, and order to erase them. Meaning Muslims, we are not allowed to draw pictures of animate things, beings, of human beings, of animals, especially when you are depicting them as if it's a reality, like with the eyes and etc. But if it is a tree or a plant or like nature, a valley, sea, this is fine. And even if someone does draw a sketch, then they should avoid completing the eyes and etc., which makes it completion of the actual face, because there are significant and strong hadith with regard to this. So one of the big challenges is now, when we go shopping for babies, is finding clothes which doesn't have pictures on them, because everything has pictures on them. Some sort of a donkey, sometimes pig. They love pigs. Why I love pigs? Pigs are very dirty. Anyway, but the animals are everywhere in pictures, and and so therefore we have to be careful to try and avoid purchasing clothing and etc. which don't have these pictures, because there are enough. I know there's a opposing argument too, and they will think that the suggestion of these kind of what I'm saying right now, they would laugh and say, oh, this guy is a crazy guy, what's he talking about? But I'm not saying it because I want to, it's because there's a hadith regarding it. And so let's read. Okay, 1678 says, عن ابن عمر رضي الله عنهما أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال إن الذين يصنعون هذه الصور يعذبون يوم القيامة يقال لهم أحيوا ما خلقتم. عن عبد الله بن عمر رضي الله عنه وارضاه narrated, the Prophet Muhammad صلى الله عليه وسلم said, those who draw pictures will be punished on the day of resurrection, and it will be said to them, breathe soul into what you have created and drawn picture of. So you want to be an artist? Fine. But don't draw people and animate objects. Of course, if it's for a purpose, security, health, there's a reason behind it, that's a separate matter. If someone is drawing a picture of a face to understand the anatomy, to say this is the eye and these are the nerves and this is where it works, there's a reason behind it, right? If someone is to draw back in the day, most one, you've seen those American cowboy depiction of criminals. Most wanted, ransom price. So, you know, they might have to draw a picture of the criminal to find him. So that's a reason, security. Do you see? So for those reasons, when there's actual necessity, that's a separate matter. But for leisure, for no reason, then you should not be drawing pictures of animate beings, humans or animals, and etc. Alright? This is why, because of all of these hadith, there's been a very strong opposition to pictures and photography for a significant amount of time among many scholars. Pictures and photography. Okay? For example, back in the day, scholars from India, even Saudi Arabia, other places, they would say photography is not allowed because you are taking pictures and the pictures have been forbidden in Islam. You can only take a picture for necessity like passport. But for leisures, for social media, what everyone does, like everything, the main event of any event is the photography of the event. Some people eat more with their camera than they eat with their mouth. Isn't it? Instagrammable brunch. Yes, salam. Yes, salam alayk. Breakfast places are chosen on how Instagrammable they are. Okay. I also use social media, so I'm quite aware of all of this. So the discussion around that was that if it is the pictures that are printed and made into a physical form stuck on the wall, then these are the pictures that the ulama of the second opinion have said this is what's not permitted. But if it is pictures which are pixelized, which are digital codes, you know when you have a photo, I might have 1,000 photos in here, but there's no photos. It's a memory, it's a digital memory, isn't it? It appears and disappears. It's not physically stuck, it's not a physical creation, it's not a physical entity. It's electronic images which are produced and closed as and when required. So the scholars give us alternative opinion that if it is pictures which are not physically printed and are digital, then there is more leeway with that. Because this forbidding of pictures is connected to that which can become objects of glorification, of praising and raising, and also can lead to worship. A'udhu billahi min dhalik. Because as you know all of the idols that they used to make back in the day. In Surah Nuh, Allah says, فلا تذرن ودا ولا سواعا ولا يغوث ويعوق ونسرا. ود, سواع, يغوث, يعوق, nasr. These were all pious people. So when they died, what did they do? He said, we missed such a great pious person, so let's make an image of them so we can remember them and this will remind us of Allah. So that was the first generation. But shaitan plans for generations. Shaitan may introduce a bid'ah, a sin today, so that it can become shirk 100 years later. Because Iblis has been given a long opportunity to misguide humanity. And so he will plan and work for years, for decades. And that's why the Hizb Shaitan, the army of Shaitan, that want to lead people into destruction, they plan for years ahead. But Muslims were very hasty sometimes. Not all of us, but some of us, or a lot of us are very hasty. We want quick results. So this is something to take heed from. So the point is, they were initially good people, isn't it? They were pious people. And then over time, they said, let's make a picture. And then generation went, and then they saw their parents revering these pictures. And they thought they should then worship these pictures, and then they become idols. So pictures which are hung, physically printed, not for just records to be for security and etc., but generally to be hung up on the walls, and these are problematic. In fact, it is narrated, as you see in the hadith, that houses and homes that have a dog or a picture hanging on them, angels of mercy will not enter them. So my father was really strict. When he goes to someone's house and sees pictures on them, he would say, you must take it down immediately. And even if they had a picture, they would take it down on the day of his arrival, and then when he goes back, they'll hang it back again. So, because obviously he was trying to teach them, but some people are, they're very keen on keeping those pictures. 1679 عن عائشة رضي الله عنها قالت قدم رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قدم رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم من سفر وقد سترت سهوة لي بقرام فيه تماثيل فلما رآه رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم تلون وجهه وقال يا عائشة أشد الناس عذابا عند الله يوم القيامة الذين يضاهون بخلق الله قالت فقطعناه فجعلنا منه وسادة أو وسادتين. Aish, this is an incident from the time of the Prophet ﷺ which teaches you how to deal and how serious the matter of having pictures hanging on your walls is. And Abdullah and then Aisha radiallahu anha wa ardaha narrated that the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ visited me after returning from a journey, and I had a shelf with a thin cloth curtain hanging over it, a shelf with a curtain on it, on which there were portraits, images. When he saw it, the Prophet ﷺ saw these images, the color of his face changed because of anger. And he said, "Oh Aisha, the most grievous torment from Allah on the day of resurrection will be of those who imitate the act of Allah and His creation. When they try to create like Allah and try to challenge Allah." So what I'm trying to say is also, of course, this is the first point of reflection, which is the actual pictures. And then let's carry on. Aisha radiallahu anha said that we tore it into pieces and made cushions or two cushions out of it. Meaning, if the picture is distorted, it's not a picture anymore, it can be used. So now, as you know, we are in the age of the rise of the AI and robots and humanoids. It's coming very fast now. A lot of jobs, like for example, Alibaba, his website, a lot of their work is done by robots. And is making more and more people redundant. Even delivery companies like Uber Eats are using robots in many countries, that carry food. So slowly, there is undoubtedly an excessive rise in artificial intelligence. Now, if this intention behind this artificial intelligence or the building of the robots is to serve the creation of Allah, then it is jaiz. But if the intention is, I'm going to make a human like Allah's made human, or to try and challenge and compete with Allah and try to play God, then is that permitted? It's not permitted, because they're the most severely punished. Same thing goes for a lot of diseases and illnesses and defects that are cured and corrected. Someone might have bent teeth, so they go and make it straight. The intention isn't to challenge Allah. The intention is simply to correct a blemish, which is normally expected from a human being. Does that make sense? This is not considered to be challenging Allah. What's considered to be challenging Allah is trying to genetically modify a person. And now people are going into such weird and disgusting realm. They're trying to edit the color of a child's eye before it's born, and its gender before it's born. A'udhu billahi min dhalik. Like this is, stem, what's that? Stem cells and genetic modification and stuff like that. Subhanallah, they're trying to go, also trying to play God sometimes. This is not allowed. Okay? But if it's to cure diseases, like cure cancer, cure some sort of illness, and they're doing research and trying to heal people and give and bring shifa, bring a dawa, shifa is from Allah, dawa, the medication, then this is good. This science is good. This is because everything in this creation is supposed to serve the humanity, not become dominant over humanity so that they try to compete with Allah. A'udhu billahi min dhalik. So may Allah give us understanding. So this is why also pictures which are used for glorification, and even if it might be like a small thing, like the safer option, I don't want to sound unfair and unreasonable and overly strict. Okay, the safer option even for family pictures is not to hang them. I'm being serious. A safer option for family pictures is not to hang them. Have them in your library, have them in your album, fine. But there's no need to have them hanging on the walls, because there are enough ahadith to say that the angels of mercy will not enter into the houses where there are pictures hanging. And we want the angels of mercy to come to our homes. Okay? I know there's an alternative opinion that might be quite harsh and this sheikh is being crazy. It's okay. Calm. Relax. It's okay. I'm trying to give good advice based upon the hadith, not making it up myself. 1680 عن ابن عباس رضي الله عنهما قال سمعت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول كل مصور في النار يجعل له بكل صورة صورها نفس فيعذبه في جهنم قال ابن عباس فإن كنت لا بد فاعلا فاصنع الشجرة وما لا روح فيه. Abdullah ibn Abbas narrated that I heard the Prophet ﷺ saying, every painter who paints human beings and animate objects will go to Jahannam for every portrait he has made or she has made, and will be appointed one who will chastise them in the Jahannam for every single picture which was made, which was competing with the creation of Allah, and which was going against the instruction of Allah and His Rasul. Okay? And then he said, if you have to draw something, if you want to be like some people just want to be arty and a painter. If you really want to draw, then draw pictures of trees and other inanimate things like cars. Oh, you can draw some nice cars. There's enough nice cars out there for you to draw. I won't list any of them for now. Let's move on. 1681. عن ابن عباس رضي الله عنهما قال سمعت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول من صور صورة في الدنيا كلف أن ينفخ فيها الروح يوم القيامة وليس بنافخ. Abdullah ibn Abbas narrated that I heard the Prophet Muhammad saying, whomsoever makes a picture will be punished on the day of resurrection and will be asked to infuse soul therein, which he will not be able to do. Imagine Allah is telling you to, oh, you made a picture, you made a statue, you made a picture, now give it a soul. We can't, that's not in our ability. So they will be prone to punishment thereafter. 1682. عن ابن مسعود رضي الله عنه قال سمعت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول إن أشد الناس عذابا يوم القيامة المصورون. And this is one of the hadiths that the people who forbid pictures and photography, and I respect that honestly, even though I follow the opinion which says if these are digital pictures then it's fine. Those who are precautious over photography because of the hadith behind it, I respect that. I respect it very much, because this is their fatwa based upon significant, strong evidences. Look at this. Ibn Mas'ud radiyallahu anhu narrated the Prophet Muhammad said that the most severely punished people on the day of judgment are those who do the musawwirun, do tasweer, are the painters. But guess what? In Arabic, the one who takes the photographer is also called the musawwir, the painter. But he's actually doing photography on a digital camera, for example. So therefore, many scholars until today avoid photography, avoid videography, and these are decisions that they make out of fear of Allah, out of trying to follow the sunnah more closely. And if that's their intention, please be careful on speaking ill of these people. Don't think, oh, they're so backward. Don't think, oh, what do they know? Oh, don't think they're out of date. La wallahi. If they are trying to honor the hadith and being precautious and having ihtiyat, being precautious for the sake of Allah, then you must honor that. We appreciate that. And there are many sheikhs in England. They're very famous, very influential, very spiritual. But there are no videos or photos of them. And their lectures are all in audio or in writing. And we must respect that. Does that make sense? Because they are trying to honor the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. You might follow a second opinion that says digital photos are fine, but they're saying no. Digital photos are the same as physical photos. They're both photos, so therefore all photos we should avoid. Even though digital photo, there is a fatwa allowing it, but it's precautious, I want to avoid it. Is that something bad? Well, it's not something bad. Okay? But what I will say is, when there is valid difference of opinion, we must respect valid difference of opinion. So those who follow the opinion that photography is not jaiz, even if it's digital, I respect you. I get you. I get where you're coming from. But do also appreciate that there are alternative opinions out there that give fatwa upon the jawaz and the permissibility of digital photos. So don't assume that everyone that's taking a photo or doing a live stream is doing it for bad intention. Because some people also, because they're very strict in their opinion, they assume that just because you do photo or videography or you do podcast or you do live stream, it's all about the clout. La wallahi, la wallahi. Because the digital world is a very big world. If we don't put good positive content out there, well, I'm telling you, there is enough negative khubth and khaba'ith out there in the digital world to obliterate the Islamic content that we produce. Our Islamic content out there in the digital space is not even a 0.01% of the quality, the standard, the production of the... Can you imagine the amount of movies out there? Each movie costs millions of pounds to make, man. And they're using high-end cameras, hundreds of thousands of pounds worth of cameras and lenses and producers and directors and what for what? To teach people about Allah and His Rasul, to take them to Jannah. La, just for entertainment, for pastime, for profit, for brainwashing, for introducing and inducing and pushing forward ideologies. This is all happening actively on a daily basis. How many movies are released daily? Netflix, active. Amazon Prime, active. Disney. Close Disney. No Disney. Okay? Act daily. Oh, movies after movies, dramas after dramas, series after series, glamorizing crimes, glamorizing drug trade, top boy. It's all about gangster life, glamorizing, and so many of our young people out there, I want to be top boy, but they end up in prison or something, so they haven't achieved anything afterwards. So this is, do you see, like people out there, the Hizb al-Shaytan, the armies of Shaitan, are working tirelessly in every way with the most profound of creativity. They're exerting maximum creativity in investing and injecting billions of pounds into this industry. And if you say, nah, we're just gonna not make anything, we're just gonna avoid this space, it will not be in line with the Shari'i objectives. The Prophet ﷺ used to take the da'wah to suq of uqad. He used to go and give da'wah in the marketplace, even though he said the most disliked places on the earth are the marketplaces. But he would take the da'wah to the marketplaces, because even though it's a place of filth and a place of sin, and of course them times it was even more, like people would be doing all sorts of, like selling people for different intentions and etc. Right? A'udhu billahi min dhalik. Yeah? Then the Prophet ﷺ would go there to share that positive. So if he can enter into suq uqad to give da'wah, where is a place of filth, then we can take proof from this that we can also enter into this digital space, which is full of a lot of negativity, to try and share the positive da'wah. And furthermore, those who are dominating the digital space are either those who are actively trying to promote kufri and fisqi ideologies, or those who are trying to distort the image of Islam. So you can't say, yeah, it's not about us, it doesn't concern us because it's not about Islam. No, there are people, think tanks, who are hiring very intelligent people with PhDs on psychology, on history, on Islam, to try and corrupt the image of Islam, and they're propagating it, pushing it out to our young people through the online algorithms. And you're going to say, no, I'm just going to sit and watch. No, that's not what Islam teaches us, wallahi. So, in summary, if someone is doing good da'wah online, with videography, with photography, with whatever, with TikTok, with Instagram, if they're doing it the correct way, with correct scholarship, correct background, then we don't assume negative. Okay, we assume positive and we see how the work goes. Does that make sense, yeah? It's very important to be respectful when it comes to legitimate difference of opinion amongst scholars of Islam who are genuine and sincere. Okay, so let's now move on. 1682 عن ابن مسعود رضي الله عنه قال سمعت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول إن أشد الناس عذابا يوم القيامة. No, we just read that. عن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه قال سمعت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول قال الله تعالى ومن أظلم ممن ذهب يخلق كخلقي فليخلقوا ذرة أو ليخلقوا حبة أو ليخلقوا شعيرة. Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu narrated, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Allah the Almighty has said, who is more of an oppressor than the one who tries to create like me, who tries to create like my creation, trying to challenge me? How dare them? Allah said, let them make an ant or a grain or even a grain of barley. They can't. All of it is called genetic modification. You can modify, add, adapt, copy, replicate, you know. But you can't actually make it from scratch, can you? Nobody can. Nobody can. Even if they can, you know, modify the chips from being bent to straight, or the chicken from being small to big, or all of that stuff, but you can't actually originate. And Allah is al-Fatir, the originator from nothing, without no ingredients. Can anyone create something from nothing? Tell me. Nobody can. No scientist, no NASA, no SpaceX can say, today we are going to make a grain of barley from nothing. No one can do that. They might say, we're going to get a bit of this, a bit of that, potassium, sodium, oxygen, hydrogen, and mix it up and da-da-da-da. There you go. Voila, that's the product. But you've just mixed up Allah's creation to make a product. You haven't done anything. At best, you're the same as the guy who got a few different drinks and put into a cup and said, hey, look at me, I originated a drink. You didn't do nothing, you just mixed up a few existing drinks already. So this is Allah. Allah is saying that لَن يَخْلُقُوا ذُبَابًا وَلَوْ اجْتَمَعُوا لَهُ. Even if the whole of humanity and jinn kind were to come together to make even a fly or a mosquito, they will never be able to originate it. You might be able to make robots, small robots, based from the metals and the minerals of the land, and from the intelligence that Allah gave you, and from the AI that you've created, again using Allah's tools. Nothing originally from you. So you are not originators. You are merely servants of God, slaves of Allah, and at best trying to imitate, but you can never, because Allah is Al-Khaliq, the original creator and the only creator. 1684 عن أبي طلحة أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال لا تدخل الملائكة بيتا فيه كلب ولا صورة. Abu Talha narrated that the Prophet Muhammad صلى الله عليه وسلم said, the angels do not enter a house in which there is a dog or a portrait. A dog or a portrait. But this is of course talking about, first of all, angels of mercy, not the angels of accountability. So don't think, hey, I'm going to hide from Allah. Allah's not going to know what sins I do. I'm going to put a dog in a portrait, so angels can't. No, this is talking about the angels of mercy. But the angels of accountability, that write and record your deeds, they are going to be there still. Furthermore, if the dog is a guard dog, then Allah knows your intention. If you need a guard dog, then this is permitted. Okay, guard dogs are permitted. You might be thinking, what is dog? Dog is a dog. Allah knows your intention. And Allah can inform the angels of your intention why you've kept the dog. If Allah knows your intention that you kept it as a guard dog, Allah may well tell the angels of Rahmah, say, this miskeen servant of mine needs guarding because he's whatever, guard dog. So it's okay for you to permit. And the Malaika don't do anything except for by Allah's permission. Nothing. They don't even move a millimeter without, or even less, without Allah's permission. Everything they do is with Allah's permission only. 1600. So the hadith is, the angels do not enter the house in which there is a dog or a picture. And that's why portraits and having pictures hanging on the wall, you should avoid it. You must have something nature. Have something of a valley, a desert, a sea, a masjid, and so on. Okay? 1685. عن ابن عمر رضي الله عنهما قال وعد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم جبريل أن يأتيه فراث عليه حتى اشتد على رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم فخرج فلقيه جبريل فشكى إليه فقال إنا لا ندخل بيتا فيه كلب ولا صورة. Abdullah ibn Umar narrated that Jibreel ﷺ promised to visit the Prophet ﷺ but delayed, and this grieved the Prophet ﷺ very much. So when he came out of his house, Jibreel met him. The Prophet ﷺ asked him, of course this is before the Prophet ﷺ knew about this particular hukum, asked him about the reason. So the Prophet is asking Jibreel, oh Jibreel, why you come late? Why didn't you come inside the house? He replied, we do not enter into the house in which there is a dog or a portrait. Khalas, take it from Sayyidina Rasulullah directly. Sayyidina Jibreel. Okay? 1686. I'll read the English translation. Aisha radiallahu anha wa ardaha narrated that Jibreel ﷺ made a promise with the Prophet ﷺ to come at a definite hour. That hour came, but he did not visit him. There was a staff in the hand of the Prophet ﷺ. There was a staff, stick. He threw it from his hand and said, never does Allah back out of his promise, nor does his messengers. Then he noticed a puppy under his bed. And so this is the explanation of the previous hadith. And said, "O Aisha, when did this dog enter?" She said, "By Allah, I don't know." He then commanded should be turned out. No sooner than had they expelled it, Jibreel ﷺ came and the Prophet ﷺ said to him, "You promised me to visit me. I waited for you, but you did not come." Whereupon he said, "The dog kept me from coming. We do not enter the house in which there is a dog or a picture." It's not a joke. Do you see? Some people laugh at scholars and say, "You shouldn't have family pictures in there." No, this guy's a crazy guy. But the hadiths are so many, not just one, so many, and it's clear from the Prophet ﷺ's mouth directly. And Sayyidina Jibreel is saying it. So what are we supposed to do? Just ignore the hadith? No, of course not. So alhamdulillah, I believe most of you will take heed from this. Inshallah, you will not have any pictures in your houses. Or dogs, unless it's a guard dog. But in Tower Hamlets, there's no space for even humans, let alone guard dogs. Unless you move out to a very spacious home somewhere. 1687. عن أبي الحياج حيان بن حسين قال لي علي بن أبي طالب رضي الله عنه وارضاه: ألا أبعثك على ما بعثني عليه رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم ألا تدع صورة إلا طمستها أو ولا قبرا مشرفا إلا سويته. Abu al-Hayyaj, Hayyan ibn Hussein narrated, Ali ibn Abi Talib, may Allah be pleased with him, said to me, so Ali ibn Abi Talib, Khalifa to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, okay, he said to me, "Shall I not send you to do the task the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam had assigned to me?" What's the task? He said, "Don't leave any portrait unless it's wiped out. So remove portraits. And do not leave any grave that is higher except that it should be same level." People are so misguided that they want to be arrogant that even after death they want to make their grave bigger than others. Ya akhi, you're in the grave. You might be getting beaten up in there, may Allah protect you. But no, I want to show off even after my death, make my grave nice and fancy. What's the need for that? In Islam, we're not allowed to decorate the graves. If there is a need for protection of the grave, because for example, maybe an animal will come in, maybe we'll dig it up, fox will come in, so you want to make a protective measure, that's a separate matter. Okay? But whole decoration and making all of this, especially if someone gives wasiyah of it, like Ramo talking about the other hadith, talk about people are trying to enforce people to do niyah and wail over their dead after they passed away. So this hadith, this athar is teaching us that he was sent on a task to make sure all the graves are the same level. So when you go to, Gardens of Peace, all the graves are the same size, same shape, because we're all the same. منها خلقناكم وفيها نعيدكم ومنها نخرجكم تارة أخرى. From it we created you, and to it you shall be returned, and therefrom you shall be resurrected once again. So may Allah give us all understanding and to take heed. Ultimately, everything we do, its intention should be clean and pure, and none of it should be the intention to ever compete with Allah, of course. And that is like a shirk anyway. No, I don't think any Muslim would do that. Anyway, but specifically, which is a topic that all of us can relate to, is about the whole topics of pictures, dogs. I know a lot of Muslims now, they like to keep dogs, pet dogs. Okay, and also what we spoke about, very important, about respecting valid difference of opinion and not negative assumptions. Okay, because I know it comes to my ear, some people assume about this guy, Mom, do you look at him? He's just trying to, he's just trying to make content for the sake of it. Allah is my witness. In the house of Allah, on this month of Muharram, in this night of Jumu'ah, Allah knows what's in your heart. Yeah? Inshallah, we try to bring goodness to people for success and goodness in this life and the next. May Allah accept us all. Say Ameen. Are there any questions?
I've got 3 questions.
Yes, go ahead.
So first one, you said the bad omen. What's the difference between a bad omen and you said evil omen and the evil eye. So this is the first question.
Okay.
And the second question is when those painters, they copy exactly like if they're taking a picture, like identical. So they're not creating. So I'm looking at you and I can make exactly like you are. And the third question is, the angels, what are they supposed to do in the house, the angel of mass?
Okay, that's good. So first the question is, what's the difference between evil omen and evil eye? Evil omen is that you take your very... Do you know what superstition is? Like you see...
So I'm Italian. So
Yeah, yeah. So for example, you see something outside and you think, oh, this is a bad sign. This is a bad sign, so I shouldn't do something. I shouldn't travel today. That's called taking an evil omen. Taking bad signs from superstitious beliefs. That's not allowed. Evil eye is when you look at someone and you're so jealous and envious of what they have, you're like staring, almost salivating, like you're just looking at them, not praising Allah for the beauty that they have, or praising Allah for the wealth that they have, or the health that they have. You're just looking at them in an evil intention. That's called evil eye. And that can be used, that nadhra, this evil eye, can be used by shaitan to pierce that and to harm the person that you're looking at in that way. So whenever you see someone or something that's good someone has, you should say, MashaAllah, la quwwata illa billah. This is all by the permission of Allah. There is no power except for Allah. Wa Allahumma barik, oh Allah bless him. So instead of giving the shaitan the opportunity to harm the person with your piercing evil eye, you make dua for that person. So you've cancelled it out, shaitan's harm. Second question you asked regarding was?
copying it.
Okay, so even if it's copying, if it's digital art, it's fine. We're talking about printed art.
So it's not a painter that is copying, so I'm looking at you and I'm painting exactly like
Yeah, it's not good. It's not allowed. Because it's physical form. It's a physical entity. It has molecules and cells behind it. But if it's digital, you're drawing on an iPad, it's just a digital, it's just pixels, it's just a digital memory. It's not a physical entity. If the battery runs out, then the picture dies with it. That kind of stuff. Does that make sense to you, yeah? Then that's where the scholars of the second opinion say, this is different. But the first opinion say, no, you shouldn't even do that. But even then, the drawing you should avoid. We're talking about photos that you take. But for drawing, you should not draw human beings or animate objects. Even digitally, it's better to avoid. Okay? And the last question you asked about? Oh, the angels of mercy attend to our houses for all reasons to witness our worship. You know, the angels, they don't recite Quran, but they listen to Quran. They love Quran. So when they come and envelope your homes with the angels of mercy, then shaitan can't come in so easily. SubhanAllah, do you see? So that's why it's important to have angels of mercy in our homes, because they serve as protection and deterrent and mercy and calmness and stillness in the house to be filled up. Because the presence of angels brings with it calm and peace. Whereas the presence of shaitan and his devils, then it makes uneasy, discomfort, problems. You see, so we want to attract the mercy of Allah and the mercy and the angels of mercy as well, so that they witness our good deeds and report to Allah, and they become witnesses for our good deeds to Allah. And Allah, of course, will take their testimony seriously, and also our home will become very calm and serene. And there are enough evidences from the hadith and the seerah that the angels attend, especially at the times of ibadah and at the times of tilawat al-Quran. There was a Sahabi who was named Usayd ibn Hudayr. He was reciting Quran for so long in the night and so sincerely that he literally saw a cloud of angels coming towards him. And then he told the Prophet ﷺ the following day, he said, these were clouds of angels coming to witness your tilawat al-Quran. And he said, if you'd carried on being pious and devout like this, the angels would have handshook you on the streets. And that's for all believers, by the way. But our level of taqwa and our iman and our ibadah is very weak. We're very impure. Angels of mercy don't come to impure, unclean places. They come to clean and pure people and clean and pure places. That's why they come to the masajid. And not to the toilets or the places of marketplaces and the place of filth and sin. They don't go there. Any other questions?
Are you allowed to wear clothes that have, logos with animal shape?
So if there's an actual picture, like the brother over there is wearing Puma, but he's not got any face or eyes, so it could be fine, but it's quite big in size, so it might be a distraction for others. But even worse than that, Puma is actually on the boycott list. Not to target you, brother, but just to let you know, Puma is in the boycott list because they sponsor. Brother, don't mind, okay? But I'm just because you're wearing the lion shape, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Puma is on the boycott list, and it's important to know which one's on the boycott list. Okay, so if it's a small icon with no image, no eye, no face, Lacoste, yeah. If it's not very big, because the big, if it's a small one, then you can go away with it. But if it's big one, then it can be distraction. And I'm scared of crocodiles, so it might scare people.
Another Sheikh, what you're saying, anything that basically eyes and everything.
Yes, the actual image. But if it's just a small logo, small one is fine because it's not distracting anybody. But if it's even if it's something like, for example, what's the logo of like a big gorilla shape? Huh? Sorry? Money maybe, or Kenzo, I don't know yet. So these ones, they make it so big, they look scary. Kenzo is the lion face, isn't it? It looks scary, man. Don't do that. Because someone's standing behind you, just going to be looking at.
Things like that, so even like going about, that logo itself.
Yeah.
It's not permissible.
Because it's got eyes and face on it. But even if you never had face and eyes, I'm talking about eyes and face, not on it. It's okay. But the shape itself is fine. But if you make it so big that it's distracting people from salah in the masjid, then that's not good. Okay, anything that distracts you from salah in the masjid, you should be avoided. I know, I see so many people, they come here, not here, but other masjid as well, they come wearing all sorts, especially in summertime, people get a bit, they want to explore the realms and the limits of Shari'i limitations. They want to explore all the fine line edges of Sharia. So some will come wearing shorts all the way up to here. So they should have better, safer and correct is to cover your knees too. But the only reason why we can't be strict is because there is an opinion in the Maliki and Hanbali school that permits it. Not permits it as in you should do it, permits it as in it's not haram. Yeah. You should wear 3 quarters, brother. You're a good man. Inshallah, you can. Inshallah. 3 quarters are fine. If you cover your knees, it's fine. When you cover, yeah. I'm talking about above the knees. So some people want to really like push the bar on the limits of, and they want to. Yeah, absolutely.
Kids are growing up.
Absolutely. I tell my son he's 10. His mom the other day goes, yeah, you should wear shorts. I said, no, he's 10. He needs to get used to covering his knees regularly. Do you get it? Because they have to feel cozy and comfortable to cover themselves. And they should feel uncomfortable and sharam and shy to uncover like that. It should become a natural thing. Yes. Last question because we've got run out of time.
So let's say.
Did you have a question, Akhil? Oh, go on.
Let's say if the person in front of you has a large, print on his back, but it's not animal or whatever. Is he okay?
You should look down. As it's fine. Your salah is going to be valid.
No, I know, but like, is it okay to have this kind of T-shirts?
That's why I said you shouldn't bring it to the masjid because it can distract others.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's not okay. Okay.
Sometimes we see that guy is got the bomber jacket with the eagle eye, big eagle.
Yeah, eyes are not allowed, Hajj.
Big eagle on the back and back of him, I'm praying. So I see the big.
There you go.
guy.
It's distracting you from salah. It's disturbing. Because you're thinking eagle's going to eat me, subhanAllah. So you can distract anybody because sometimes it's not just eagles, Hajj. They have tiger, they have snake. Some people like snake shape. Crocodile. Yes, Akhil. Dragons. Yes.
So, say a person's wearing, say, like a jersey, football jersey, obviously some that have animals on the crest and stuff. Are you allowed to pray with that on, or is it?
If it's got an actual picture of an animal, you shouldn't. You shouldn't pray with that. It wouldn't be allowed. But if it's just the shape, not the eyes and the face, then if it's a small logo, it's okay. But if it's big that it distracts other people, then it's not okay. Does that make sense? Inshallah, I think we made it clear. Subhanakallah, wa la ilaha illa astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Anyone here good at adhan? Any volunteer?